My name is Grant, the co-living guy. I am the founder and on the teaching team for Livingsmith. Livingsmith teaches the gold standard in co-living, investing, and property management. Today, I want to share with you something a little bit more personal. It is hot out the press. This morning, I was taking some time meditating, doing some back stretching, and it came to me that household, which Livingsmith teaches that household is the X factor. It is the reason why so far $256 million of startup capital with powerful proven leadership has not just been unsuccessful, but absolutely failed, and why we have been successful. The X factor, the secret sauce, the thing that makes everything happen, the watershed. Either you have it and you succeed and everything's better, or you don't have it and you failed. This X factor is household. And something that dawned on me is that myself, and so our whole Livingsmith teaching team, we have often made the assumption that people understand household once we say a few things about it and give a few examples. And then we talk about our 40-point complete household system, which is how a house is set up and how it operates. This is extremely important to those who invest and provide co-living rental houses, because for them, it saves them a lot of money, makes them a lot of money, and the house mostly runs itself, which is huge, very huge. On the renter side, household as the X factor is such a big deal because it is either a place where you love going home to, you benefit from living there, and you never want to leave. That is household. When you have a present, healthy household, different from if you have an unpresent or a non-existent household or a household that is unhealthy. This is a place that renters will only be at as long as they have to be there. They do not want to live there long. This is a place like rooming houses, boarding houses, oftentimes those masquerading as co-living houses like pad split houses and other people talking out there, where they remove the TV from the living room. They remove the living room altogether. Basically, they're taking an extended stay hotel and they're wrapping it around a kitchen, and they're delivering that in a home in a neighborhood, right? So this would be a non-existent household. If you have an unhealthy household, this is also someplace that you might be wanting to leave as soon as you can. So again, this is not saying anything negative about those households. For example, rooming houses, boarding houses, the commonly run pad split house, these are households that are so important to society. It is very important when somebody is tough on their luck that they have this housing as an option. But this housing is not something that you want to stay in any longer than you must. So this is what we've said so far with household. This is what I've said so far with household, because I've made the mistake of thinking once I say a few things about what it is, give a few examples, and say a few things about what it's not, then voila, people know what it is. And today during meditation this morning, so again, this is right hot off the press, you're going to see that this is still coming into my full understanding, is that household, we need to teach exactly what it is, because the reason why this is an X factor is because it's a forgotten concept. It's a concept that fell out of favor. It was something that no longer fits generations in the past, and so it stopped being used. Or maybe it was only regulated to being used in a financial or an insurance standpoint, or who's in your Netflix household, right? Who can legally use your household according to Netflix's rules. All of these things in regard to household point to a term, a concept that is so absolutely vital, but because it stopped fitting generations, and I would guess this was maybe around the 80s or the 90s, but maybe longer, I was born in 81, so, I can only speak to some things. But the concept of household, for instance, a two parent, two children, three children household, maybe a dog, this hasn't fit for a long time. In fact, the concept of household makes lots of people say, whatever that is, it doesn't apply to me. But household, and let me be clear on this, household is the forgotten social need that every one of us humans has. And we either benefit from it or we suffer because of it. Because it's a forgotten social need, it is something that happens without us being really aware. So right now, I want to cover exactly what household is. And this is what came to me like, boom, during my meditation. It is the eightfold household. And to start off this, I want to cover some basics so then you can really get into, appreciate, and benefit from the eightfold household, whether you are an investor that is wanting to provide co-living homes, or you are somebody who is living a part of a co-living home, and that might be applicable, both of those applicable to one person. For instance, for me, for 20 years, I lived in co-living houses, and I was an investor in co-living houses. So first off, the simple definition of household is it is the who and the how of people who live together. So again, the who is it that you live together with, and the how do you live together? That is household in its very simplistic matter, the who and the how of who you live with, right? Of the people who live together. So once that's understood, the who is very simple. The people that share your living unit, that's the who. It might just be you. It might be you and 6 other people, or 8 or 10 other people in a co-living house. It might be you and extended family. That is the who. The how is what we're going to get into with the eightfold household. So in regard to the eightfold household, there's a few other foundational concepts as far as household goes. One is that household is either present or it's not present, and there's a spectrum in between. So for example, a boarding house might have 0 household. It's very extreme on the not present side, where a household could be very strong on the household side. There's strong relationships there. There's strong understanding of the how people live together, and there's strong understanding and connection between the who of those who live together. This would be very represented by the intentional living community, which I got to be a part of for 20 years. And between my family of origin and them is how I got educated on household. And now I have this gift to share with people. And sometimes I take it for granted. And this is my desire in sharing this revelation of the eightfold household, to make this clear, to make my gift more effectual. So household is either present or it's not present. And there's a spectrum there, right, between present and not present. Another spectrum is healthy and not healthy, right? So a household can be extremely healthy. It can be extremely unhealthy. That has a number of dimensions. Is it overly rigid, or is it have no structure? Both of those are unhealthy, right? Or is it have enough structure where somebody feels a consistency, a safety, they can thrive, kind of like a well-grounded kite can soar the highest, and there's enough flexibility where that person doesn't feel like a cog in the machine, right? So healthy households are on a spectrum, unhealthy to unhealthy. There is households are on a spectrum of present or not present, there or not there. And let's get into the eightfold household. So the eightfold household, here are the 8 aspects of the household that overlap a whole lot, hence the eightfold household. The first is the way the people relate to other people in the house, the relationship between individuals in the house. The second is the relationship from the house towards people outside the household. So like neighbors, government, fill in the blank. Oh, in regard to co-living households for the co-living property management. So relationships outside the household. The third is a house member, a renter's relationship to themselves. So the first three are relationships between house members, relationships from house members to those outside the house, and a house member's relationship to themselves. The next four are security, financial contribution, cleaning, and home care. Those are the next ones. Now, what about the last one? We didn't say the eighth one. I'm going to get to that in a moment. A little spoiler alert. The name of it is extra special. And because it's extra special, we're going to wait. The last four have a lot to do with logistics. And the last one is extra special on the eightfold household. So this is understanding what household is, how to make it healthy, how to make it healthier. If it's unhealthy, this gives a path to make it healthier. If it's present, this can make it even stronger, more present. If it's not present, this can bring it into existence. It can bring it in the correct side of that spectrum, right? Down the spectrum in the right direction. So the eightfold household, as I'm listing these things, you're going to notice two items. One is that investors benefit from the eightfold household the exact same way that renters benefit from the eightfold household, and vice versa. Right? The only way for renters and investors to win is for both of them to win, and to win big. So when the relationships between house members is strong, that's a benefit to investors. It's a benefit to renters. And I'm going to stop mentioning that, but I want you to know every item that we go in, let your imagination fill it in of why this being present would be a benefit to both renters and investors, and why this being not present or unhealthy would be a detraction, a disadvantage to both renters and investors. So the first is house members' relationship among themselves. What is a house member's relationship to the others in the household? The second is, what is a house member's relationship to those outside the household? So this could be, say, a house member's girlfriend or boyfriend, or maybe it's a child that is of a house member, a fellow house member's child. It could be neighbors. We have neighbors that are right next door to us, and we have neighbors that are down the block from us, or some of us are in HOAs or ROAs. And those neighbors, even though they might be a few blocks away, we still have relationship with. This is also with the local government, the local jurisdiction. And for instance, having the yard well taken care of shows a good relationship to those code enforcers or the HOA or your neighbors, that you're having a good looking house, right? So this is people outside the household. The third is extra amazing. In regard to all of the eightfold household, how does a house member relate to themselves in regard to this eightfold household? And that relationship is very important, right? Do they see the rules and the freedoms as something that benefits them? What have they discovered of the treasures of relationship with others in the household, with those outside the household? Some people, some renters, have met their future spouse because it was a friend of one of their house members. Some members have the job, the career that they love because a house member had that job and they got them hired, right? So those are the first three of the eightfold household are relationships. Now let's get through the other ones. And again, this is not going to be a comprehensive teaching on the eightfold household, but it is going to be a very solid foundation. So in regard to security, this is, does the front door lock? Does it lock automatically? Do bedrooms have the option to lock? Do those lock automatically? What about back doors? Back doors to the house, back doors to the alley, other doors that are not the front door. These doors, how do they lock? And with this security, does it malfunction? Are there loopholes? Are there problems? Does the security give somebody the decision to choose their own security, right? Can somebody choose that their bedroom door stays locked or is left unlocked and maybe opened, right? So these are security. The security is one of the eightfold household. This is very important. The second one is cleaning, right? So there's either every week daily cleaning up after yourself, doing your weekly chore, but there's also deep cleaning. We say clean it if you use it, deep clean it if you love it. And so this is an important aspect, and cleaning often gets facilitated through the chore board. Then there's home care, right? Is the bathroom sink leaking? Did a window get cracked? Is a window being left open when the AC or the heater is on? So this is all about home care and respecting and taking care of the home from a maintenance standpoint, where cleaning is all about having that well taken care of home stay sparkly, not just light cleaning, but deep cleaning. The next part is contribution or financial, right? Is are you paying your rent on time? Because that rent gets you a nice house for the low price of a room, which is extraordinary. So contribution or financial contribution is another part of the eightfold. And then, so before we get to the extra special item, just to list it again, the first three are relationship from a house member, between house members, a relationship from a house member to those outside the house. And the last one is a relationship that the house member has to themselves in regard to the household. The next four are more home logistics. There's cleaning, security, home care, and financial contribution. And the last one we haven't covered yet. It's called extra special. And it's extra special because there is something, and it's unique to each person, whether they're a renter or a house owner. It's unique to each person and unique to that time in their lives. And this is going to be something that we'll call it take and give. This is unique to something that they take from the house, a benefit they get from the house, and unique to an extra special thing that they give to the house. This might be somebody who really has a gift for interior design. They're more aesthetic, and they put maybe a painting or some kind of artwork on the walls, or maybe they paint an accent wall or a rug, but they really bring that gift to the house. There's also these extra special things that somebody will see that the house can benefit them in them. It might be in one of these other seven folds. In fact, pretty much every aspect of the eightfold household falls in almost all the other aspects, right? That's why it's an eightfold household. These aren't separate, isolated parts of the household. So something extra special is going to be something that each renter and each property manager or investor can think about. Hey, what is something extra special they can provide to the household? And what's something extra special that they can benefit from the household, right? So this extra special thing is a little bit nebulous, a little bit amorphous, but it is also something that if you take the time to look around and look in your heart, you will know exactly what it is. So again, take the eightfold household, and then you take that this is the how of the household. So the household is the who and the how, and the how of the household is on a couple spectrums. One is not existent to very strong in there, right? And another spectrum is it is unhealthy to healthy. And the more that it is strong in there, the further it is towards the end of the spectrum of present, strong there, and the further it is on the spectrum towards healthy, the more benefit is going to be to both the renters and investors. Shortly, briefly to say, the benefit to investors is it's going to make more money. It's going to have more revenue. It's going to have more profits, and it's going to take less time to manage. And it is going to be much more internally rewarding as you see a household that is thriving and fantastic. That is extremely rewarding. In regard to the renter, the further that household is to the side of strong in there and on the side of the spectrum of healthy, the more that renter is going to thrive. When they come home, they're going to be so glad to come home to a household that appreciates and respects them. And that's mutually across the board. And when they leave, so they go to work or they go on a vacation, they're gonna feel confident and good. In a healthy household, imposter syndrome is absolutely impossible. They are mutually exclusive. In a healthy household, loneliness is absolutely impossible. They are mutually exclusive. Somebody in a healthy household can form healthy dating relationships, healthy relationships with family members that might live across the country. They're in a spot to absolutely thrive. So the benefits to a renter or a house member is that the psychological benefits are almost unending. However, the financial benefits, and go through each of the 8 aspects, the benefits are massive. They get a wonderful house in a nice neighborhood for the price of a room. Wow, they can use that money for their financial goals, for their dreams about travel, about saving up, about financial freedom. So to be very, very specific, household is the X factor. Don't believe anybody else that tells you it's not. Household is key, not just in co-living, but in life. And this is the reason why Livingsmith and those who practice the gold standard of co-living investment and property management, it's the reason why they succeed and they massively profit, and their house members stay for over 2 years at 97% occupancy, right? Why these amazing numbers happen, it's because of household. When $256 million can go down the drain because of not a denial of household, it's they just don't know. So those who don't know household are going to miss out. And those who know household and practice it in their co-living house, in their co-living investments, and in their personal lives are going to massively benefit. Go live your co-living daydreams.